The tiny talk that I came up with, so when I was coming with the idea, I'm like, well, it could be something related to the job, it could be something personal, it can be anything. And the topic that I kind of wanted to talk on briefly was not being dismissive with youth. So the reason that this idea came to me was, as some of you know, I do a program called Boss. And when I do that program, I go to the schools, I get to know the students in the first like 2 sessions that I'm there, starting to build a rapport. And then there's a little bit of education, but then we focus on trying to find a project that the students can work on, something that they can look at their community, find a community issue, and make make a positive change. And sometimes when about the holidays again, sometimes when I talk with certain people, I kind of give that kind of explanation. And sometimes I've run into people that I felt like a little dismissive. Talking with one of my uncles, I would say that things like one of my groups was working on something involving homework. So there was a lot of stress from school, and the kids were working on a project relating to talking with teachers on the amount of homework that they're being given. And sometimes I would get the response of, oh, well, kids today, they don't know what it was like before. They don't know the same amount, the homework's not the same. Just those dismissive talks. And of course, when they're dismissive about them, in a way, it's also being dismissive for the job that I do. So, just as an overall, when we get a chance to work with youth and talk with youth, I really would suggest making sure that you listen and try to empower them. When I was a kid, I always felt that my dad treated me a little bit older than I was, and I always appreciated that. And because of that, I got to have a relationship with him, and we, just were able to do more things, and I always loved that fact. So let me take my notes. And it's some other little things that came up in discussions when I was talking with some of my team. I think, Robin, you mentioned the idea of the little things, like, oh, you can invite your little friends over for a sleepover, or your little problems, using that terminology with kids. And are those problems little? Is that something that we're projecting onto them? And then also sometimes understanding that this might be their first time. As when I was even in the teaching field, I always tried to be the teacher that related to my students and understood them. But there were times where I think, why are they just not getting this subject? Why are they not understanding it? And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, you silly person, this is my second, maybe third time going around with this subject matter, where this might be their first time. So trying to get into the shoes of youth that we work with, and trying to look at it from their perspective. And sometimes it is just empowering and listening. To be honest, my dad never knew the backstory behind any video game or any TV show I was really interested in, but he would listen, and I appreciated that. And sometimes he would even say, I don't know what you're talking about specifically, but I appreciate that you're excited about it, and that excitement is powerful. So I guess my last closing statement I think will say is, sometimes you'll be surprised by our youth. I haven't gotten a chance to talk with Beth actually about a project, but one of the schools that I was with just finished their project, and they got a chance to talk with the members of they got a chance to talk with the teachers in a facilitated conversation, and they provided ideas to help them with school stress. And it was a very meaningful talk, and at that point being facilitated, it kind of felt like everyone was on the same level. And both sides got a chance to speak, both groups gave some ideas, and everybody left with a positive attitude where, hey, these are some things that we could do, or yeah, we really should look at these things. And when I walked the kids back to the room, because I only had about 4 of them, when they went in, the other students that were there were like, did the teachers listen? Were they listening to us? And the answer was yes, and there was just a lot of good empowerment among that class. So I think I talked more than 5 minutes, but thank you very much.